All right, let's just jump right in. We think we've got our world all figured out, right? We've got maps, GPS, satellites, they've charted every single corner. But what if I told you our planet is still just packed with secrets, hiding right in plain sight? So, what kind of secrets are we talking about here? Well, from the ghostly echoes of World War II to the raw power of a volcano, there are these amazing stories literally etched into the Earth's surface. And honestly, you can only really see them from way, way up. So today, we're going to go on a little high-tech adventure. We're going to use those eyes in the sky to uncover some mysteries that are, well, they're baffling, they're brilliant, and sometimes they're just plain weird. First up, we're going to look at the marks that human conflict leaves behind, both old and new. And our first stop is a pretty famous, or maybe infamous, island out in the Pacific. Okay, so this is Iwo Jima. Yep, the site of that incredibly brutal battle in World War II. Now, for years, satellite images just showed this little cluster of dark shapes off the coast. Looked like a bunch of rocks, you know? But then, over time, something really weird started happening to them. And this is where it gets wild. Look at this comparison. Back in 2005, those shapes were a good 200 meters out at sea. But today, they're sitting right on the beach. I mean, think about it. We hear about rising sea levels all the time, but here, the water actually retreated. What's going on? Well, here's the kicker. They're not rocks. They're not rocks at all. They're a ghost fleet from World War II. We're looking at U.S. Navy ships that were sunk back in 1945, and now they're literally being pushed up from the ocean floor because the whole island is rising due to volcanic activity. Incredible. All right, let's fast forward to a much more recent conflict. In 2023, satellites spotted something odd at a Ukrainian airbase. This huge bomber, a really important military plane, was suddenly covered in these weird black circles. A year before, it was clean. So what's the deal? Okay, get this. The answer is just a brilliant bit of low-tech thinking. Those aren't paint splotches. They're old car tires, just regular car tires, laid out on the wings. And the reason is pure genius. It's meant to confuse the automated targeting systems on enemy drones. It messes with the plane's outline, making it harder to get a lock. A super simple defense against a super high-tech weapon. So from clever tactics, we go to a story of just pure survival. Deep, deep in the Siberian wilderness. I mean, we're talking the middle of nowhere. Satellites picked up this incredible scene. The wreckage of a plane that looks like it just tore a path right through the forest. So here's what happened. On June 2nd, 2022, this cargo plane was literally minutes away from landing when, bam, disaster. Both engines just cut out. The pilot had this impossible choice to make. Try to glide it to the airport or put it down in the trees. And this is the most amazing part. I mean, you look at that wreckage and you just assume the worst, right? But somehow, against all odds, every single person on board, all 7 of them, survived. It's an absolute miracle, right in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so we've seen human ingenuity and survival. Now let's switch gears and look at the raw, awesome, and sometimes terrifying power of nature itself, something that can change the whole landscape in the blink of an eye. Just look at this. On August 17th, 2021, you're seeing a vibrant, beautiful little town on the coast of La Palma in Spain. Then, fast forward just 2 days, and it's gone. The entire town, just buried under volcanic ash. It's such a powerful reminder of what's going on right under our feet. You know, sometimes nature doesn't just destroy, it reveals. Back in 2022, a massive drought hit California, and Lake Orteville basically dried up. And as the water disappeared, something started to emerge from the lake bed. It was an SUV, just sitting there, that had been 65 feet underwater for who knows how long. A total mystery. Okay, next up, we're heading to the Sahara. And out of this just endless ocean of sand, you find this. This incredible, almost perfectly circular formation. They call it the Richat structure, but honestly, it looks like a giant bullseye that someone painted on the face of the planet. So what is it? Well, the best theory from geologists is that we're looking at the core of a super ancient volcano. For millions of years, wind and sand just blasted away the outside mountain, the cone, leaving behind only the hardened guts of the thing, the magma chamber. It's like a fossil of a giant, sleeping volcano.
All right, for our last section, let's look at the weird, sometimes funny, and always fascinating marks that we humans have left on the world.
Check this out. We're in a super remote part of China, and we see this facility. And right next to it are those two gigantic rocks casting these long shadows. I mean, they look massive, but if you look really close, something about it just feels off. Yeah, it's a total optical illusion. See the shadows from the buildings? They're pointing the other way. Those aren't rocks casting shadows. They're two massive holes in the ground. We're talking football field-sized sinkholes that were just recently dug. And the craziest part? No one really knows why. You know, some places on the map are named very literally. Case in point, south of New Zealand, there's a real place called Disappointment Island. And it has probably the most honest name on the planet. The story goes that back in the day, whalers would be at sea for months. They'd spot this island and think, yes, fresh water, food. But when they'd land, they'd find nothing. No trees, no water, nothing useful. Just, well, disappointment. Now look at this pattern. It's just beautiful, right? This is on the coast of Somalia. What you're seeing are thousands of man-made wells, and they have this really clever two-part job. First, they're like a wall that stops salt water from getting further inland and ruining farmland. But also, the seawater that gets trapped in them evaporates in the sun, which leaves behind sea salt that people can harvest. Super smart. Okay, our last mystery, we're going way out into the Saudi desert. I mean, hundreds of kilometers from anything. And back in 2007, this perfect square, 400 meters on each side, just appeared. So you start wondering, right? Is it an ancient ruin? Some secret government site? Well, the truth is actually a lot more practical. If you look at older images, you can see it was a temporary camp for oil exploration. And that giant square trench, it wasn't built to keep people out. It was built to keep dangerous critters in the desert and out of the camp. We're talking snakes, scorpions, you get the idea. So, wow, we've seen everything from ghost ships and tire camouflage to mysterious desert squares. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What else is out there that we just haven't noticed yet? I think what all this shows is that our world is never static. It's always changing. It's this huge canvas covered in hidden history, incredible natural wonders, and some pretty wild human ideas. And there are still so many stories left to find. And the cool thing is, the tools to explore are right there for all of us. So the only real question left is, what are you going to discover next?